Welcome everyone to this week's webinar from Anika Digital. My name is Darren Wynn. I'm stepping in as host for today. This week we've got our own Emil from Anika Digital. Emil, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and just briefly mention what it is you're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, so I'm Emil. I'm a strategist on the social media side here at Anika. Today I am going to go through a bunch of updates that I've come across in the last year up until as recent as yesterday. So I think the best way to put it is that if I was to watch this presentation 2 days ago, I would learn something new. So hopefully you will as well.
Excellent, I'm sure you will. Before we start, we've got 2 polls to run through. These are just a couple of questions for you, just on your level of knowledge currently in social. So I'll just put the first poll up. That should appear soon. First question is, have you ever used the Advantage Plus features in Meta? I've got no idea what Advantage Plus is. No, not applicable. I've heard of it, but I'm not using it. We've tried it, but not using them currently, or we're using Advantage Plus. We'll just wait for those to come through.
Are we getting answers in? Because we can't see for them or not. Okay, cool.
So we've got large majority, no idea what Advantage Plus is. That's 68%. We've got a couple that have heard of it but aren't using it. And then we've got 2 people, 2 experts in the room that are currently using Advantage Plus. So most people, no idea what Advantage Plus is. So that'll be good.
Yeah, I think if you're using Meta ads, the chances are you are using it, but you might not know you're using it, because I'll go into it in more detail, but some of it's a rebrand, some of it's brand new. So you'll probably realize as we go through, oh, actually, I do use that. It's one person who can't hear, but I believe everyone else can. So
I hope so. Yeah, it might be worth just trying to see if you can. Well, you won't be able to hear me. Thanks, Jordan. Got people running IT for us. Right, let's do the second poll. And the second poll is, how do you currently use social media for your business or who you work for? I'm currently not working, or I work for a company that does not use social media. We create organic posts for our business in Facebook brackets Meta or LinkedIn. We use paid social ads for Facebook, Meta on an ongoing basis for our business. We use paid social ads in LinkedIn, X, TikTok, and other platforms on an ongoing basis. We use paid social ads for Facebook for spike campaigns, and we use social ads on LinkedIn, X, TikTok, and other platforms for spike campaigns. And it looks like the majority is B. We create organic posts for our business in Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah, when we say spike campaigns, it's essentially you use it when you want to elevate specific activity. So say you have a launch or something like that, or today, Black Friday, that would count as a spike.
Okay, it looks like most people can hear us, which is good. So we'll continue if that's all right. That's all from me for now. I'll hand over to you, Emil. You've got the floor. What I'll do is I'll mute my microphone. I'll stay on chat. If you've got any questions at all, do post them either in the Q&A section or just in the chat in general. I'll collect those responses, and then at the end we'll have some time for some Q&A before I do some admin. So that's it from me. Over to you, Emil.
Yeah, sure. So the agenda, I'll do a slightly more in-depth introduction. Then I'm going to look at Advantage Plus. Part of that is Advantage Plus shopping. Then I've gone through a bunch of different updates that I've come across, that some are newer than others. Some you'll have heard of it's been around for about a year, but it's still, even though it's been around for a year, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've used it or know what it actually is. And then at the end, we'll have questions. Obviously, if you do have questions, you can whack it in the chat or in the Q&A section on the right there. And if there are any that sort of pop out and need answering or make sense to answer during, I'll do that as well. So yeah, a bit about me. I've been at Annika for the best part of 3 years now. Work on the social media sides, mainly on the ad side. Before then, I was at
I think we may have lost Emil. Okay, not just me. Thanks, Dean. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I'll message Emil and just make sure he's all right. He's probably doing a reboot and then coming back to us. So we'll just see where he is. Hello,
Right.
You're back.
Yeah, I don't know where I cut off. I got an error message. But doesn't matter. We'll skip the introduction.
Okay.
I'm Emil. I work in social media. We'll go there. I don't know if is this part for you, Darren, or shall I just quickly whisper?
Yeah, I can do this bit. So we're Annika Digital. We've been around for about 15 years in various different forms. So we were founded in 2007 by our very own Anne Stanley. We've got 23 staff at the moment. We're multi-award winning. We just won an award that Emil was a part of, actually, for a client of ours. We won 4 awards, actually, and we've got a couple more, I think, since then. So we've been smashing the awards this year. 40 clients. We span across multiple different sectors. So whether that's B2B, B2C, and we've got 7 services. So we consider ourselves a full service digital agency. So we do lots of different things, whether that's PR, social media, PPC, SEO, lots of different stuff. So whatever it is, whatever the requirement is, we usually are able to have a really good conversation around strategy, what you're planning to do with your digital, what your main pain points are at the moment, so that we can put a really good strategy for you together. So whatever it is that you're looking for in the world of digital, we should be able to help you out. This is our team. So we've got the board of directors, we've got our strategy and commercial team, and then we've got people that do the hard part, which is the implementation and the account management and the account growth and all the rest of it. Lots of different clients. So we work across, like I said, a vast different number of clients in different sectors. Some of our clients are here. We've worked with some clients for many, many years. Range from Eon, Palex, NHS, Experience. So lots of really good clients that we've got. This really sums up our channels and services. So we call it poetic. So we've got paid media, like I said, owned media, which includes SEO, content, social, email marketing. We've got earned media. So we've got a PR team, work across social and reputation management. We've got technical team in-house. So we work with things like analytics, data validation, data integration, CRO, which stands for conversion rate optimization, and hybrid media. We've got insights and data, which comes across with competitor audience. We've got a range of really interesting tools that we use to analyze the market, try and figure out where your competitors are at the moment, try and see where you fit into that mix so we can get a competitive advantage. And we've got a creative service as well, which we can use to build out branding plans, work with UX audits, that's user experience audits, build creative assets, and really hooks into all of the other things we do around social, so we can build those assets in-house as well. This is a new slide, strategy and delivery.
It's kind of a repetition anyways.
Yeah, it's just that we've got a lot of experience in-house. We're a senior team. We've got a lot of people that have worked for many years in digital. So all of this really starts with strategy and builds out from there. So it's worth a conversation with us around where your strategy is at the moment, what kind of brand guidelines have you got in place, what are your plans for next year, and then we can use that to build out what the right kind of channels are that will fit your mix, and then lead to the outcomes that you want to see within your business. There's our awards, and there's Emil, and there's Ed, who works in our analytics and technical team. And the awards that we won recently, there's 4 of them there, and we've just won best use for paid social as well.
Right, so to the good stuff that you're actually here for. Start off with Advantage Plus. Advantage Plus is a bit of a rebrand from Facebook. Some of it is not new. Some of it's been around for quite a long time. Essentially, it relates to the automated parts. So there are loads of different things that can be automated where you give the platform a little bit more control to experiment. So some of it's been around for a while and have simply just rebranded it. For example, Advantage Plus audiences, it's a bit like what used to be called audience expansions, where you just ticked a box where the platform said, if we might expand beyond the audience that you've added in, if we think it's going to get you greater results. I've been testing the Advantage Plus, and it is working effectively. It's probably working better than what the audience expansions were. So when you're doing prospecting, especially, what I tend to do is sort of add in a couple of criteria there. So they'll prioritize, in this case, Christmas shopping and Christmas tree shops, but they'll go beyond that. It's just sort of guiding the algorithm a little bit by adding in a couple of things. Another thing that is not new at all is what they've rebranded Advantage Plus placements. That just used to be called automated placements. It means that the platform will just use all of the different placements and figure out itself where the ads are best placed. I use a mixture of them in my campaigns. Sometimes I do manual because there are certain placements that I don't believe in, and if you already know it doesn't work, there's not even any point in giving the platform the option. It will still work on an optimized and automated algorithm where it will test all the ones that you've ticked. But by clicking Advantage Plus, essentially, it just you're ticking all the possible options for the ads that you're running. So what is new? If you go into the ad level now, you can see this thing called Advantage Plus Creative appear. So in some cases, you get up to 8 options. Advantage Plus is free. There's nothing paid for there. It's just built into the platform. So yeah, nothing. It's not part of any premium package or anything. So Advantage Plus Creative, it tailors your ad to the person viewing it, and there are 8 different options in this case. So we'll go through a few of those. So you've got first we've got the original creative in this case, and then you've got relevant comments. You've got filters. You've got music. you've got 3D animation, you've got image templates, you've got visual touch-ups, and you've got test improvements and expand image. So I'll go through a few of these in a bit more detail. So essentially, if you want to turn any of these on, you just toggle the box. And you can see in this case, relevant comments is turned on. So the image template, it's one that I don't really like because the options are slightly limited. I think it can ruin a really, like in this case here, we've got our designer to design a beautiful visual here. And then I've just added this ugly banner on top. At the start, I don't think you could even customize this. Now it gives you a couple of options here. So you can do font style and the color. The fonts are limited, so you won't be able to get, potentially you might not be able to get the font that you use for your brand. So then it becomes off brand. In the past, you can do the color either. So you just randomly pick the color. And personally, I just think it looked terrible. And it's not one that I tend to opt in. Even though Meta will rave about how it's so amazing, I'll take some of Meta's advice with a pinch of salt, because you can't always trust the person selling or the people selling the product. Advantage plus creative is one that I tend to turn off when I've got visuals. This is advantage. This is touch-ups. This is image filter. It's sort of the same, to be honest. It just adjusts the image. If you have a graphic like this, then you don't want the platform to all of a sudden change the brightness and the contrast, because all of a sudden you might end up with assets that are off-brand. All of a sudden the orange is different to what your brand guidelines say. So I wouldn't recommend using it when you're doing graphic assets. But if you're doing non-professional photography, for example, if you've got professional photography, you got to trust that the photographer has edited the pictures to the best standard. So again, you wouldn't really want to have it on them. But if you've got, for example, user-generated content, when it is a little bit raw, then you potentially might want to use it, because it might just give them a minor tweak. Relevant comments. Now, this could work really well because you might have some positive comments that act as brand advocacy from your customers. It might be someone saying, "Oh, I bought this. It was amazing. Service was great. 100% recommend." But you just have to be aware that the platform determines what is relevant. So there is a chance that what they count as a relevant comment is a negative one that says it's terrible, and it's essentially just pins a negative review to your ad, which is the opposite of what you want. So just be aware of that. Music. Now, the sounds on the music side, they tend to be safer. So by that, I mean instrumentals. They don't tend to go too wild. But then again, there is a chance. I went through the options on this one, and one of them was not an instrumental. But I guess the platform tries to adjust the music to the user's likes. So, for example, if the platform has determined that a person listens to a certain type of music, then there's a chance that they might add their genre to the assets. What it does do is, when you have a single image, it might just add that additional element to it and make it come alive a little bit more. And if you turn this on, it doesn't mean that it's always going to have music on. It will determine whether to or whether not, based on what they think the user is going to like. Text improvements. When you're creating the ads, you add the headline that goes underneath the creative. You have what's called the primary text, which is the text above the creative. You have description. By turning on text improvements, the platform essentially will mix and match and try to find out where different text might perform best. So if, say, you have a really strong primary text, but your headline is really poor, then it might potentially pull some of the primary text into the headline, and vice versa, just to test and see where all your text, everything that you provided, what combination works best. So I think that's a pretty useful one that, unless you have something that is essential to go, like you need this to be in the headline, and you can't risk not having it in the headline. So say, for example, you're pushing a very specific offer and you want that in the headline, then you turn it off. Advantage Plus shopping, still part of the whole Advantage Plus automated side of Facebook. It's valid for e-commerce businesses. Essentially automates a massive part of the shopping setup and targeting. You find this on the campaign level. So when you open up a new campaign and you click shopping, you've got manual setup, and then you've got the Advantage Plus. According to several businesses and Meta itself, it will help you elevate performance, and it limits the amount of ad sets that you need, because it's essentially saying our AI will be able to identify your customers. Just leave it with us, trust us, and we'll do it. So it takes you get less control, and you kind of need to trust the platform to do its thing. I'd probably recommend testing it before diving in and trusting it completely. Potentially doing a combination. So you might have remarketing audiences, and then you might use Advantage Plus shopping for your prospecting. So you can also, another thing, this is one thing that I found it's going to be really useful for me going forward. This is one I found yesterday. It's called, there's an option now to schedule individual ads within the Advantage Plus shopping. So in the past, you've only been able to schedule based on campaign level or ad set level, but not individual ads. So say, for example, you have an ad set and a campaign running, and all you want to do is add in an ad for a specific amount of time, but then you want to pause it, and then you want to continue with the ones that were there before. Black Friday is a perfect example. I might have ad sets. It's the same audience that I want to target, but now I want to push these Black Friday ads from today until Monday. Now, if I use standard targeting, I'd either have to time that on an ad set level, but that means that every ad will go off afterwards. But with this, I'll be able to automate the pausing of the individual ads. It just saves you that hassle, especially if you have campaigns that might end at night on a Sunday. It saves you from having to log in off hours and pausing the ads on a Sunday evening. So yeah, I think that's going to be really useful for spy campaigns. And to be honest, I think they should just add this to all the campaigns. Now, when it comes to the Advantage Plus Creative on the shopping side, it's slightly different. Less options, but they do have the dynamic description. They've got music. Dynamic media is slightly different, and then they've got info labels. So info labels, they include things like if you see the on the right there, info labels, what is marked in blue there, that could be a label that says sale, or it could pull the price from your catalog. It could pull the discount percentage. It could pull the was and now price. So having that dynamically on, it can be quite useful. It will determine what works best for the individuals. Some people, they will react better to seeing the percentage off. Others want to see the before and after price. Some will click if it says sale because they're curious. So recommend having that on. Dynamic media, essentially it means that you can switch between video and single image based on the user's preference. So some people are more likely to take action when they see a video. Others are more likely to take action when they see a single image or a still image even. But for us as the advertiser, we don't want to run ads with just the one option, because then we might potentially be closing off the door to all the others. If the platform has determined that a user never reacts to video content and you're only running video ads, then those users won't be seeing it. After a while, the platform will stop wasting money on those people. So by having dynamic media on in the shopping sides, you're essentially making sure that you're reaching more people and it's being catered to them. So that's the end of the Advantage Plus. I don't know if it would probably make sense seeing if there are some questions now on Advantage Plus. I see Maya asked if you can do background color and text color. The text color, I don't think you can change it. I'm guessing they're gonna basically determine whether it's going to be black or white. If there are any other questions on Advantage Plus, get them in now, and I can quickly answer them. If not,
there's a couple of people asking where they access this. Is this something that's available to everyone now?
Yeah, it's essentially you'll see crumbs of Advantage Plus everywhere within when you're setting up the ads. I've added in labels throughout where you can see where you find each of them. So some of them, for example, the Advantage Plus shopping, that's on campaign level. So when you set up a campaign, you click sales, and then that's where you pick it. When it comes to the targeting side, that's on ad set level. And then you've got the creative, that's when you create the actual ads. In terms of where you access it, it's in the Facebook ads account.
Okay, I've got one other question. Would there be a case where you would ignore these features or not use them, or is it something that most people should be using?
It's a bit like I said throughout. Sometimes you use them, sometimes you don't. I think personally, I'm quite critical of new features. I'll never just trust the platform to do everything automated for me. I mean, it also means that there's barely any point in my job anymore. So that's, but if you just trust the platform to do everything for you, then I think you're leaving too much trust to the platform. You're not directing it. You're not guiding it in any sense. There are certain, for example, when it comes to the targeting, I still want to guide it a little bit by adding in a few attributes or giving some audience sources. When it comes to the placements, there are certain placements that I know for a fact that people don't really take action from, like the right side column on Facebook. Those ads look like ads. They don't look like they're part of the organic experience. So again, I don't think I've ever clicked an ad on the right side column, so I'll always turn it off.
Yeah, Anne makes a good point about performance max campaigns. I think when you start to understand these platforms and you've got some experience, more control is better to get the finer details. But if you're an absolute beginner and you want to set up some ads, that's the place where I think these tools start to show their worth. We've got no other questions, so we might as well move on.
There was just one more that came in just now. When it comes to the Advantage Plus, essentially what they do is they do base their targeting on copy, on creatives, also on the type of business you are, on the types of followers you have. They'll use all of that to try to identify people. But in some cases, I have seen it work very well. I ran an A/B test for a client, and it was an attribute/interests ad set. And I had a bunch of different attributes in there without the Advantage Plus, and then I ran an A/B test, and I could never really get above sort of like the 4-5 ROAS, and I could never increase spend because it would drop the ROAS. When I ran the A/B test, and it was a clear winner for the Advantage Plus. But not just that. After that, I was able to sort of scale it from around 30 to 50 pounds a day up to about 300 a day with a higher ROAS. So it's definitely one to test and see if you get similar results. Right, moving on to other updates. So this is a mix. A lot of it is from Meta, but it's sort of more one-sliders than big topics. Another new thing that I came across recently is budget scheduling. In the past, you've been able to, on campaign level, you've been able to do scheduling. That's been around for years and years, where you can say, I want the ads for this campaign to run on Mondays to Fridays between 9 and 5 only. The problem with those is that you have to have a lifetime budget instead of daily budget. And that means that at the end of every end date, you need to reset it. So it's a little bit long-winded. Now, with budget scheduling, you can go in and you can say, on these days, so I'm going to use the example that falls perfectly today. So I could go in and I could say, Black Friday, I want to increase the spend by 50%. So then I'll go in here, I'll tick the box, increase your budget during time periods. I'll do the 24th until the 27th at 23.59, increase by 50%. And after that, drop it down again. I think that's a really useful automated tool. It helps you prepare. Helps you prepare before the day. So instead of having to do it on the day, like today, with a lot of the accounts, I've had to go in the morning, increase the spend, the daily spend, and then on Monday evening, I'll have to decrease it again. With this, it saves me from having to do that. It means that I can also start spending at 5 a.m. I'm not going to wake up. I'm committed to my job. I'm not going to wake up at 4 a.m. To increase the spend by 50% on the client. I'm going to do it when I start, potentially missing out on a few hours there. Same when it comes to the evening on Monday. You got two options. Either, unless you've got the ad set to turn off, you got two options. You can either do it in the evening, but you're not going to do it at 23.59, or you can do it in the morning the day after. So then you risk some people seeing an old ad for a few hours. So this is going to be really useful. No, and I didn't bring this for Black Friday. This is just in general. So you can increase it by the value or the percentage. You select the period, but you can also create multiple. So once you've created one, you can do another one. So say, for example, some people run Black Weekends, some people run Black Friday when they don't have any offers on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and then they have Cyber Monday. So then you would just have those spikes on those 2 days. And again, really useful. You don't have to manually do it on the day. Automate it through the budget scheduling. So it's definitely something I'm going to be using for spike campaigns. Another thing that you probably have seen, but you might not really know what it is this option called multi-advertiser ads. It's on the ad level, so it's quite high up when you're creating your ads. Essentially, multi-advertiser ad, you give the platform permission to put your ad next to other companies' ads. So here in the example on the right, you've got an ad that's been shown, which is above. Underneath that ad, it says you might like. So it's essentially suggesting based on the ad that was shown. You'll be alongside competitors, but that's a little bit like Google Shopping when you go in. And it's one that I'm essentially turning on for every client, but it's not automatically turned on. So you need to, or ads that have been running for a bit of time, go in and click multi-advertiser ads, tick that on. Another new thing is that people might not really understand what it is. It's called one-day engaged view. That's a new attribution window. Attribution window is essentially the window where the platform will take credit for the action, for the conversion. So if you have a 7-day click attribution window, it means that it will take credit for a sale that happens within 7 days of someone clicking an ad. One-day engaged view is a pretty new one. Applies to video ads only. That will attribute a conversion to skippable video ads when 97% or more, or 10 seconds or more is viewed. This is found on ad set level. It says ad level there, but yeah, missed that out. Locations. Another update that's happened on the location side is that in the past you were able to separate whether you wanted to target people that have recently been in a location or they're living in a location. I think this is a terrible update because it makes a big difference if someone lives in a location or they've recently been there. Meta now only offers the option to target the two. So they're not separate, they join into one. The problem with this is that you potentially get travelers that become part of audiences that are local, especially if you're a local business and you've got a limited budget. You only want to target people that live in the area. You only spending a couple of £100. You don't want people that are just traveling through. You're relying on them to be local in order for them to become a customer. Reach and frequency is another. This is a feature that's been around for a long time. Essentially, it's where you reserve an audience instead of bid for it. So everything is more predetermined. You give them a budget, they tell you how many people you'll reach. It's less of a guesstimate. It's more accurate. You can guide it in terms of the frequency and stuff like that. In the past, you were able to do traffic reach and frequency ads. That is no longer an option. So that's an update that I stumbled across 2 weeks ago, I believe. And yeah, not an ideal update, to be honest. If I was to use reach and frequency, I'm sure there would be plenty of cases where traffic is the one that I would go for, just to get a higher quality audience. Now, there's been some limits in terms of the performance goals as well. You can only optimize based on through plays, reach of ads, and ad recall lift on the awareness side. Through play means that someone has viewed enough of the platform to determine that they've been engaged in the video. I think it's 97% or 10 seconds plus. Ad recall lift is what the platform names. It's a name for a metric that essentially identifies whether someone will remember your brand or not, and they run tests based on that as well. Every now and then on Facebook or Instagram, you'll get a poll from Facebook that says, if you were to consider building a website, which one of these would you pick? Or do you remember seeing an ad for this brand? That's them measuring the ad recall lift just to make sure that people are actually remembering based on the ads. When it comes to the engagement side, you can only do through play now, so you can't optimize for maximum engagement, which I think is slightly counterproductive, because if you got an engagement ad, then surely you want to optimize to maximize engagement. But yeah, what can you do? Video format seems to be compulsory now for reach and frequency ads, so you can't tick this off. So that's another update there. You've also got a bunch of, not sure how new all of these are, but it's kind of changed format from the last time I ran reach and frequency ads. So you've got inventory filters. Essentially, this is to protect your brand from being shown on in places that you don't want it to be shown. So dodgy websites, that sort of thing. When it comes to exclusions, some of them are only available on account level as opposed to campaign. So you have to set that every single one of your ads needs to have these exclusions. You can't just say only this campaign. Another thing that I came across, which is part of the EU side, so we run ads in the EU. Now, you've got to select a beneficiary and payer. So there's an option. I had a couple of ads that were running with errors. So I've never seen this before. It's on the ad set level, and it's fairly simple. Essentially, this drop down, you just pick the company that you're advertising for. Another update that I came across last week is LinkedIn have now got a conversions API. So other social media platforms, they've had conversions API. It's been around for a long time. The awards that Darren mentioned earlier, they came because we were early adopters of the conversions API on Meta, and we saw massive boosts in performance because of it. All the other platforms, TikTok, Pinterest, X, a lot of them, they've had APIs, and LinkedIn have been so far behind. It's been something that we've been talking about, where we've said, what are they doing? Because we've seen performance dip. The quality of audiences on LinkedIn, they've dipped. They've cut the cost per click, but there's a lot of bot traffic by the looks of things. And LinkedIn will be suffering from exactly the same privacy implications as the other platforms. They've just been really slow. So essentially, LinkedIn and your website would have really struggled to communicate up until now. So hopefully this will lead to greater boosts on LinkedIn as well in terms of performance. It is brand new. I've not tested it yet, but we will be testing this. Ad-free subscriptions. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about that. That's a new thing on Meta, where people within the EU, EEA, and Switzerland, they can now pay for an ad-free version of Facebook and Instagram. Costs €6 on the web, 8 on iOS and Android. Just answer Stacey's question there. An API it's essentially server-side tracking. I'm sure Anne will jump in and give you plenty of information on that one. Back to the ad-free subscription. One problem with it is that a lot of users have found that they can't advertise if they've opted in. So if I was to opt in for the ad-free, say I lived in the EU, I was to opt in for the ad-free version, I wouldn't be able to advertise. You get this error message here. So here's an example from someone on LinkedIn. It kind of does make sense because there's probably a lot of technical difficulties with if you're blocked from seeing ads, how to see the preview, can they show you a preview in your feed? But as an advertiser anyway, I don't know why you would opt out, because you kind of need to use your own experience on the platforms to learn. You need to I use it to see good ads, bad ads, see my own ads just to spot if, God forbid, there's a horrific little spelling error going on there. Absolute nightmare. But it does make sense not to have it if you are running ads. There are some conditions where you can get around that blockage, but most of it isn't realistic. So here's a few of them. So like you can't do it if you're running ads boosting. You can't do it if you're boosting on Facebook, Instagram. You can do it if you're running ads on Facebook that aren't linked to an Instagram account. You can, but then again, usually you would have both, and you can't do reels. So yeah, there's the conditions in the vast majority of cases you won't be able to advertise. So yeah, I recommend if you are running ads, do not subscribe when it comes over to the UK. There's also been a bunch of EU advertising policy changes. Now, we did ask around the room earlier on, and there weren't that many people in the EU, but you might be advertising in those regions. A lot of these changes, they do seem pretty fair, to be honest. Going through them, it's essentially protecting the user. It's stopping companies from acting immorally. It's making companies accountable for spreading fake news, manipulating shoppers, criminal activity like child abuse, that sort of stuff. Now, I've got a lot of this from The Guardian. So platforms, they'll be obliged to combat this, the sale of illegal products and services. Again, I mean, that should be in place anyway, so that shouldn't really be a big change. Cracking down on illegal content, can't target children. So for some ads, you can target under 18 in the UK down to a certain age, but that you can't do that in the EU anymore. And you won't be able to use sensitive personal data like race, gender, religion to target users. That again, definitely on Facebook has been the case for quite a while now, so it's not new. In some cases, though, it can be slightly contradictory. Like we've had clients in the past that are religious. Their companies based around religion, so targeting on religion wouldn't be that damaging on that front. But I guess it's because of people that have used it in the wrong way and have targeted negative content towards those groups. This one is probably the one that I found the most interesting. It's a ban on dark patterns. So essentially, it's protecting users by stopping the interfaces from manipulating users into buying things they don't need or want. So they did an audit on 399 online shops, and they found a lot of things like fake countdown timers, again, misleading. It's not moral to make up these incentives for users, fake deadlines, hiding important information like the delivery costs or cheaper options, and manipulating consumers into entering into a subscription. And I have definitely been manipulated into subscriptions in the past, and I never even got a refund from Sky. And I believe that is it. So we can go through to questions.
We've answered a few during your presentation. Thank you for that. That was brilliant. I find it really interesting about dark patterns because that's something that the internet's had for a long time. And I noticed the other day, even Amazon do this type of thing. For example, when you select to buy something, put something in the cart, and it says delivery in the next 3 hours for tomorrow, I've let that time elapse sometimes, and I've gone back past that time, and that counter's reset, and you can still get it delivered tomorrow past that time. So I think everyone, lots of different companies fall victim to that from time to time.
Yeah, well, the pricing as well. I bought a bed yesterday, and then in the evening I went on to check, and it was 200 quid cheaper, and I was like, well, that order's getting cancelled straight away. Like, what are you? Like, you're not going to sell me the same product £200 more expensive just a few hours before. Not falling for that at all. But yeah, a lot of those changes, they do seem to be very fair. I know there's going to be like big companies complaining about it, but that's probably more to do with their own morals than anything else.
Brilliant. And Michael's made a comment about automation, saying our jobs are safe for the time being. I think that it's a funny thing about automation. We are still seeing it make changes in what we do. Some of it helps beginners and people that just want to get an ad live. And there's a lot of tools now available that will help you achieve that very easily. But I think automation isn't quite coming for digital marketing in the way that some people might assume it is. I think that it raises that barrier to entry sometimes. And if you know what you're doing, automation can really empower you to make further optimizations. But I don't think it's quite coming to replace us yet. Brill. I don't think there's any questions so far. If there's any that pop through while I'm doing the admin side, we'll revisit. Just a couple more things from myself. Let me get the handouts. First of all, and I think most importantly, let's see if we can do this. If you could leave, can you see that, Emil?
Yes.
Bro, if you could leave Emil a review, it goes a really long way for us. It takes just a couple of minutes to fill out if you follow that link through there. We put webinars on every Friday, and the team put a lot of effort into the content that we produce. So a little review to us just helps us grow and get the word out to more and more people. So that would be fab if you could do that. Secondly, we run training courses. So some of you may not know, but we run training courses pretty frequently. I think every week we're usually doing something or other in terms of training. The courses that we run are usually fully funded or part funded through government grants. So it's a really good opportunity for people to learn more about digital marketing. So if stuff like this inspires you, or you feel like you want a greater breadth of knowledge in terms of digital marketing, if you're in the East Anglia, Suffolk, Nottinghamshire, Derby, Lincolnshire, Rutland, Leicestershire, or Liverpool areas, and if you're unemployed or self-employed, or you know someone that is, if you follow this link or you go through to our website and follow the link that way, You can give us a call as well and speak to Lucy, who's one of our coordinators. You can find out some more information about the digital marketing courses that we run, and they may be of interest to you, and you may be funded to attend those courses. So check that out if that's of interest to you. And the last one that I'll share.
Tanya's just asked if that's different to the level 5 they're doing.
Best to give us a call and find out, and maybe be able to answer in the chat that question while I'm talking. Yeah, finally, we've got an ebook that was written by Anne, who's in the chat, all about integrated marketing, some tips and tricks in there. If you're running digital marketing campaigns at the moment, or you want to find out more about kind of how we incorporate all the different channels into how we do our strategies and digital marketing plans, this is a really good first step for you. So worth having sitting on the desk or having downloaded, just in case you ever want to refer to that later. And you can download a copy through this link here. This is a new course. Let's see if I can answer that one. Brill. That's all from me. Thank you, Emil, for your time today. I thought it was brilliant. Excellent presentation. Thank you all for listening. I hope you have a lovely Friday. Enjoy your weekends, and hopefully you can join us next Friday for another webinar. I believe it's going to be Brad that's going to be doing the next one. So I'm going to assume it's going to be something around search engine optimization. Thanks, Emil. Thank you all.
Cool. Bye.